Hello, Catawba Nation. We're back with our podcast, Beyond the Sand, and today's episode number 9. And we have a guest, track and field coach, Jason. Hello, Jason.
Hello, hello.
Yes. Can you please introduce yourself and maybe explain how's your journey been so far here at Catawba and overall, like your coaching journey?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I don't do a lot of podcasts with track
okay.
and field in the track and field world, but it's fun to be here. Yeah, I guess so. My journey here at Catawba started in 2014. It was my first head coaching job, and we had just cross country. So our sport is a 3-season sport, kind of
Okay.
cross country in the fall, winter is indoor track, outdoor track is a spring sport.
Okay.
So we go year round. And at the time, we just had cross country when I got here. So I became the cross country coach here at Catawba in 2014. So I had 9 athletes on the team total. We just competed in the fall. Didn't really have any obligation to do anything after that. We did do some stuff that first year in the spring, just trying to bring the standard up of the team. And it was kind of a jogging club when I got here. It wasn't really a collegiate sport. And so the transition there was a little bit of a whiplash coming into a team that wanted to be better, but didn't really have any expectations on them for several years prior. The coach that had been here prior to that was a great guy, but was a little older and had kind of let it, just become what it had become. And so when I got here, like I said, we had 9 athletes. We only had 4 girls, which you have to have 5 to score. So we didn't even have a scoring team.
So it's kind of like beach volleyball because we have 5 pairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's similar.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had an open tryout on campus, and I was like, hey, if you like running, just got to be able to run an 8-minute mile on the girls' side. It was pretty low bar. We had 2 girls show up. They both ran, kind of struggled a little bit, but I was like, yeah, we'd love to have you. One would go on to kind of run that year with us and then not really do it any longer. The other one was with us for 4 years. Her sister came here, was all region for us, and it was kind of a cool story. But that first year or 2 was, a bit of a struggle. And then I had always hoped they would add track. I thought that might have been why they hired me, to bring me in to kind of legitimize cross country a little bit more, add a track program. And it took 3 years, but in 17-18, they allowed us to add indoor and outdoor track and field. Little did I know how much work that was going to be. And the first 2 years of that, up until about 2020, when everything stopped because of COVID, was pretty messy. I mean, bringing in a lot of new people. They're all freshmen. There's not a lot of upperclassmen. And with that, all the issues that come with a bunch of freshmen that don't have upperclassmen to look to. Coaches, they look to coaches, but then they look to their peers to see what the standards are. And we didn't have that at the time. Had a lot of talent come in, but didn't have, like I said, the leadership on the team to kind of help guide them. So we had a lot of turnover. And I kind of equate it to like a tire in mud. Like we got a little traction, we would get a little traction, then we'd slip back, and then we'd get a little more traction, do something, and just slip again. Obviously 2020, everybody stopped. So it was actually on our end, it was good to kind of pause the season because we were, growing at that time, and it allowed us to kind of get a head start with recruiting and get people here. And then as we got into 21, 22, 23, we really started to get momentum and build on the cross country side. And we got our first men's team to nationals in school history on the cross country side in 2021, I believe. And then we got our first women's team in 2022 and never looked back on that side. And we've been there each year and moved up, to be in the top 20 team this past year. And in track, had even more success with the sprint side, and specifically the jump side a little bit too. Had some All-Americans in the jumps and the sprints, and as of recently, had even more success and had a national champion. And it's been a journey, but it's been a growing experience. I've grown more than anything, I think, in just what I've experienced, what I've seen, what I've had to deal with as far as just human nature and seeing people grow and walking them through that. And some wins and some big, failures, and you kind of learn a little bit more through those sometimes.
Yeah, I think this is a really inspiring story. I honestly didn't know any of that. And I think our program is really, really new. We're just starting to build it. And our coaches, they came in last spring. So this is actually the first like full season they've been with us. And I transferred here. I would say half of the team is kind of new to beach volleyball. So we're really going through the process of like building something.
Yeah.
And it's, as you said, it's not easy. And right now, I think is the moment when we have work, then there are expectations we have to meet, but it's not going so smoothly, and
Yeah.
like there are definitely some ups and downs. And so yeah, I think maybe your program is something we can look up to. And
That's crazy. Yeah.
so
It's crazy to hear somebody say that. But,
so yeah, I think the first question I would ask is, what do you think are like the values, I don't know, the special ingredients in made your program so successful?
yeah, I mean, when you deal with people, and it's something I've learned over the years, and I'm still learning so much, definitely have not arrived. I think when you deal with people, you got to start there and meet them where they're at. I, to be honest, being in the cross country world and a distance runner, not having much experience with the sprint side and the jump side and the throw side, and we have people from all different backgrounds. We have international students. We have
Okay.
white, black, Hispanic, like all different races, all different economic backgrounds, everything. And I think the beauty of that is that people get exposed to different, um, backgrounds and different beliefs and thoughts that they never have. It can also be messy too when you throw all that on a bus and travel 3 hours away and spend the night and compete, and emotions are high and everything like that. It can get messy too. But I think with all that, our expectations are to try to better yourself, and it's simple, but like try to improve. It doesn't mean don't fail. It means when you fail, because you're going to have a
Yeah.
setback, you're gonna have adversity, learn from it, grow from it. And that includes our coaches. Like, we admit when we mess up. I had a big mess up last year at the indoor conference meet where we had a young lady who didn't do anything wrong. We literally messed up a registration situation, and like, she was done for the rest of the meet. And I got on the bus that night and I apologized to her first, and then I got on the bus and apologized to the whole team. And we took that one on the chin, and she handled it amazing. It really showed me who she was, and she was a conference champion this year at the indoor meet. And
Wow.
we kind of full circle, brought it back around, and it was kind of cool to see that. But I wasn't going to shy away from that. I mean, I made a mistake. I'm the head coach, and we ask the same from our athletes. When you make a mistake or something doesn't go your way, own it and grow from it, learn from it. And again, as a coach, you want that to happen for everybody. It doesn't always happen for everybody. You can't really save everybody. You can't walk through that with everyone. Some people are going to resist it. Some people are never going to get there. And that's the ones that you remember. Unfortunately, you remember the ones that you didn't, who didn't see it through. But there's so many stories. And I told somebody that the other day out at the track, is like, as the head coach specifically, and this is not anything good, to be boastful of on my part, but I do get the unique opportunity to, like, I know most of the stories of everybody on our team. I know the backgrounds, not every detail, but I know most of the backgrounds. So that 70 to 75 people, there's so many stories behind all those people. They're all people, and they have reasons they do the things they do, and reasons why they are where they're at. And I think that's the cool thing, is that as a coach and as a head coach, you start to see those things, and you start to maybe realize even more so that we want to run fast, we want to throw far, we want to jump far, but we also want them to grow. And I think if they do that, it'll reflect on the track, and in the circle and in the pit and all that stuff, and then it'll carry on past track and past their athletics career.
Yeah, I think that's something my coaches are trying to build in our program too. Like our our coaches are like our family, the whole team is, and that's something we talked about last week after we didn't really succeed in a conference game, and it was really really tough because our coaches really put everything into this sport, like it's their life, and um, we work really hard too, and it's tough to lose. Like it's always tough to lose. And after we had like practice where we just sat down and coaches were like, okay, so what's wrong? And we had this like really tough conversation, right? And one question my coach asked was like, what does family mean to you?
That's what I was going to ask you. You said family, and everybody throws that word around.
Yes.
With team recruits come, we're like a family, you know?
Yes.
And like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean to you guys?
Well, I really like my coach's answer, and I would say I really agree with her. It's like, it's not only about the good parts, because family, that means like keeping each other accountable. To me, it means like challenging and like wanting the best out of your family member, right? Like you want them to succeed, be the best. And
so being honest with them.
Yes. Yeah. To be honest in the moments when you have to be honest, and maybe it's going to sound harsh, like, and having those hard conversations, and that, to me, that's family. And I think that's something we experience right now because our coaches are honest with us. They're like, we need to play better. We need to be more tough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, and also like what you mentioned about like the failures and stuff, I really agree. Like our coach said, sports and athletics is for tough people. Like you're going to fail in everything, and it's important that you keep going. Yeah. And as a family member, team member, you have to keep pushing and like acknowledge, I made a mistake. We competed bad, but let's keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, so. No, I mean, that's, like I said, like most recruits that come in, they ask, what is your team like? And I was like, well, you're going to hear every coach tell you that they're like a family. And I'll tell you that too. But what I mean by that is that we're not always holding hands, singing Kumbaya. Yeah. We don't get along sometimes. We disagree. We, we have difficult conversations, and you go through seasons, and you learn that as you get older. You guys being, 18 to 25 now. I mean, it keeps going up, but only having a smaller snapshot of life experiences, and again, I'm 40 years old, so I've lived a little bit more, but by no means wise or anything like that. But you start to learn that like this is just a season of life. Don't think it's going to be what it's going to be like. I mean, I had a conversation Saturday with a freshman who's struggling right now, and I told that individual, like, this is the micro. You're worried about the macro, like the whole career, and the big picture. And I think, it's tough right now. This is not going well. This season is not going well for you, and it's rough, but hang in there. Don't give up. It won't always be like this. And I think that's the one thing that with you guys hearing that you're struggling a little bit right now, it's so needed to get where you're not going to get where you need to get unless you're going through some stuff right now.
Another thing I wanted to ask is, because we've been like changing the practice style, and maybe like, does your team, like, do you as a coach, do you have any like rules or any expectations, or not saying punishments, but
I'm
something.
I'm going from this podcast to a little meeting with an individual who we got to talk about some rules, and I got to speak about that with the team, what expectations are. On Wednesday, we gotta reiterate that going into this weekend. But yeah, I mean, so I have a couple, just like any good coach, right, has a couple phrases written on my whiteboard that I think quotes that you come back to, and I think the standard of any organization is based on the behavior that the leader allows. So that's I don't ever get that right, but that's about it. Whatever I say is okay is the standard. Okay. If I'm saying you can be late to practice all the time, then that's what we are. And I could always do a little better on that. But I think that's important because a lot of times as individuals on the team, they don't see the big picture. They see themselves. It's just about them, and they don't see that the whole team is a lot of times paying attention. How's coach going to handle this? How are they going to deal with this person? And there's expectations that can go out the window and be like, oh, they don't care. Like we can do whatever. And then there's, the same thing when you hold somebody to a standard. It's like, oh, that's not okay. This is, because there's there's tons of, I'm sure, beach volleyball programs out there that's just a party all the time, and they just don't care.
Exactly.
And like they just show up and play beach volleyball, and they maybe practice on their own twice a week, and there's no real, they don't even lift together. I mean, there's programs out there like that, but then there's programs like you guys that are getting after it, and there's a practice this time, we're doing this today, like meeting at this time to talk about this, watch a film, like things like that. There's standards there, and I think as much as sometimes that can get difficult and be hard to deal with, the other side is way worse. I've told our athletes before, there's schools in our conference that you could go to and you could do whatever you want, but you're also going to not be very good, and you're not going to win anything, and you're not going to improve, and that's worse than just doing whatever you want all the time. So I mean, I think that on our side, holding that standard is important, and we miss on that. There's things that I don't see or that I miss. I'm human. Our coaching staff's human. We don't always catch everything, but I always equate a lot of things too back to like the professional world, and like I have a boss. I just got an email right before we started, and that I need to do something that I'm like, oh yeah, whoops. I continuously have to try to do better too on my end, and I get held to a standard too in our athletic department. And I try to equate what we do in our sport back to the job you're going to have one day, and the expectations that are going to be on you. And, whether you do well in your profession or not is based on, can you hit those standards? Can you meet expectations? And, if you're at a high performing organization, no matter what it is, there's going to be those standards, and there's going to be accountability on the back end. We've done in the past, and it's not been very welcome. We've done performance evaluations, but
really?
you get at work, you get
Okay.
them. Why can't we do them here? Why can't we do them in athletics? Like, hey, and it's never like, oh, you ran too slow. That's not what we don't go from there. It's not like how many kills you had or anything like that. I think that's the thing in beach volleyball, right? I know it is indoors, but it's more of like, did you, what kind of teammate were you? Did you take the sport seriously? Did you get to rehab in the training room? Did you take care of injuries? Did you communicate with coaches? Did you, different things like that are not as cut as dry as like, oh, you ran the 100 in this time or this time. Come on. It's more of like the things that'll create that outcome that you will run well. And we talk about that where people are, and we kind of give a 1 to 5 rating, and we've done that in the past a little more, some years than others. But I do think it's something that we need to do more of, because it's going to happen in your job one day, and it's going to be a slap in the face when you are like, whoa, what's happening? Like, this isn't cool. And like, I think it can be very constructive, but it also can be very eye-opening to individuals. And, it's a time to put some people on notice too. Be like, hey, you're not living up to your side of the bargain.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea about evaluation. Never thought about it.
I mean, I get evaluated at the end of the year too.
Yeah,
we get
professors are.
We get surveys that you guys do.
Oh,
you
really?
haven't been here. You haven't been here.
No,
1 year?
my first year.
You'll get a survey at the end. I probably shouldn't be telling
about
you this.
coaches.
Oh yeah, and it's anonymous comments is one of the
really?
sections, and it is brutal. Like I got roasted 1 year by some people, and like it's anonymous. I mean, it's just like get on a message board and write whatever you want, and not having to put your name with it. But some of it's just normal, like, okay, yeah, like we want Chipotle every meal, and like, stuff like that. But some of it is, it's just everybody's opinion about stuff all the time. When you got 70 people, it's like everybody's going to have their own opinion. But, yeah, I mean, we get evaluated based on that. I would literally sit down with my boss and go through this.
That's crazy.
It is
rough.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, it's rough sometimes. This year was, cross country was pretty good, but I'm going to get another one here in the next couple weeks. That'll be fun.
Wow. Yeah. But going back to like just how you represent, that's something my coaches are really onto too. It's like how we represent our team, not only like how we play. That's one thing right on the court, but as you said, beach volleyball, there are a lot of programs that just do it for fun. It's like, especially because it's outside, it's sunny, like whatever, the environment is nice and everyone's happy. But in reality, like it's a professional sport, and we're here to compete. And my coaches, like their backgrounds is, their experience is crazy, and I really value that. So whenever they have their expectations. I think it's really important we meet them. And when we go to like a tournament, our coach is always like, it's not good if you just go out there and talk to like people and it looks like you have fun. Like you're there to compete, you're there to do your job. And then after that, yeah, you can get to know the community and whatever. But first of all, like you have to treat the sport like it's everything at that moment when you compete. So yeah, I really agree with that. But going back to the evaluation, that's really interesting. And I think, yeah, what you do like outside of the practice, like the treatment and everything, like that's
Yeah.
probably that's how you get successful, because it's not only like what everyone sees, like while you compete, while you run, or while you kill the ball, right?
Mhm.
It's also like how you treat your body and everything. So
Yeah.
yes, maybe more about beach volleyball.
Mhm.
How familiar are you with this sport?
Well, yeah, the video we did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
I've gone out and played it for fun for sure,
okay.
like on the beach or, at different camps and things like that we've done in the past. But yeah, I mean, I know it's a very serious sport. I have a buddy actually who I ran with in college, and he has gotten really into it. I think he moved to San Diego for a little while. He lives in Texas now, and he always posts stuff about him being in tournaments, and he plays doubles with a guy, and like they're just like they just go around and play different tournaments around the country even. And he was good at like he was one of those people that like whatever he does, he's good at.
Okay.
And so I've followed that a little bit, and then obviously you guys are similar to us in the fact that nobody really pays attention to it except for every 4 years.
It's like a small
When,
sport.
when the Olympics happen,
Yep.
people watch it during that. People don't watch track and field until the Olympics happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of my experience with it, but it's not one of the big three, right? It's not baseball,
No.
basketball, football.
The money is not there.
Yeah. So the money's not there, the attention's not there, and I would be lying if I didn't say I had a little chip on my shoulder about us. Like, oh, we're gonna show them, or we're gonna prove something to them. I think all non-major sports kind of have that, and I'm sure Neil's coach has that and wants to prove you guys are a legitimate program. And not that people don't think that, it's just you always. I mean, if you're competitive, you're competitive. And
Yeah, but
coaches
there's
are
a way
competitive.
to get there.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I like about Catawba is that you have, I think, more than a lot of other programs out there, a lot of other schools, the attention given to all sports is pretty high level. I mean, there's track and field, like I said, track and field and beach volleyball are not the top rung necessarily. Not putting it on TV
Not
all
yet.
the time, and they're not not yet. But it is something that here that like the Catawba culture and the fact that the support that I've even felt from different coaches on the coaching staffs of like, hey, congrats, cheering for you. That's been really cool over the years, and I think that that's something that you don't have everywhere. So I mean, I think uniquely to Catawba, even that's a little thing that we have that I think a lot of our athletes don't even realize sometimes that they're in that because they're just used to that. That's what it is. But it's not like that everywhere.
No, yeah, as a transfer, I can really agree with that. Coming from different school
Mm-hmm.
here, like the atmosphere, like the things we get,
Mm-hmm.
like everything is really close to being a professional athlete, and
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously how much you take it from it, right? Like if you use the opportunities, then that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It's always your decision, but yeah, it's definitely all the sources and resources are out there. And as I said, like my coaches and you too, and I think like all the coaches at Catawba are really professional.
Well,
I've
I mean,
heard.
I'll tell you when they brought Susan and
Oliver,
and
yeah.
Oliver. I mean, and that puts coaches and staffs on notice. So like,
Yeah.
oh man, they're bringing Olympic guys in
Yeah.
now. Uh-oh, like we got to up our
Uh,
game. Like
yeah.
goodness gracious. And I mean, across the board. I mean, over the past few years, just the different staffs that, our athletic directors has brought in. I mean, existing coaches here. I mean, that's something that we're all competitive. So we're like, all right, like I gotta up my game. I gotta continue to grow our program, and I think it's in a good way. Not in like I want them I don't want them to do as good as us. It's kind of like, all right, now it's just like when you're in a really
it's like
good
a friendly competition.
Yeah,
like
well, it's like our
good
our
competition.
conference is brutal in track and field and cross country. Some of the best teams in the country, and a lot of our athletes sometimes will mention like, well, if they weren't in our conference, we would have done. Like, yeah, but you would not be as good. You wouldn't have to be, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't push to be as good. I think it's the same thing here with the athletic program as general. It's the reason it's gotten better each year is because baseball's over here doing this, swim's doing this. Like, oh gosh, basketball's doing this. Okay, we gotta. All right, we can do it too. Let's go. So, I mean, I think that's made everybody better is seeing what everybody's done. And I told people that the other day about coming back from nationals. I think that's going to hopefully open the floodgates at Catawba, and we're going to be the first, to get a national title, but it's not going to be the last.
Yeah.
And it's going to be many more to come.
By the way, congrats on that. Really
Yeah, thank
insane. I don't know if I think everyone knows that.
Yeah.
All the news were out there, but yeah, first national champion, crazy.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was a fun weekend,
Yeah.
and we I'll say we should have had two. We had a little little snafu in the 60 as far as we had a
Okay.
guy who he should have won, but I won't say anything about those officials. I'll leave it there, but I will say outdoor, he's putting the nation on notice. He's going to win the
Okay.
100-meter dash, and we'll have more national champions this year because as we go in the outdoor season, we have a couple more opportunities. But yeah, it was a amazing weekend, and again, those individuals that were there, they have stories and they have backgrounds, and not to get into I'm not getting into all that, but they definitely have come a long ways and they deserve the best. And it was cool to see that come to fruition for Miles, and everything he's been through. And hopefully, it definitely, I think, will come to fruition for Victor as well come outdoor season.
Yes, all I can say is just thank you for inspiration. Thank you for the conversation. I hope you're gonna have a great rest of your season, and I promise we as a beach volleyball team we're gonna try to keep up with you guys.
Yeah,
And
appreciate it.
yes,
Yeah, we're never here. That's the only thing. But we will be in the next few years as we get a new facility. So, but yeah, I know we'll definitely be cheering you guys on too this year. And I know you guys kind
we
of
have a senior night
okay
this Friday.
this Friday.
Yes,
Oh,
at home.
I'll be at Raleigh Relays.
Ah,
I'll be in Raleigh. We're never here on the weekends. Like we're always somewhere,
yeah.
or we're in like 3 different places. But yeah, no, yeah, we wish you guys the best, and to continue to build the program. It can be difficult, but like again, like you got to look at it as like you got to go through these moments to get to where you need to get to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Success is not easy.
No.
Okay, thank you. That was our episode number 9 with Coach Jason. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
Bye.
for having me.
Perfect.